Oh, I guess I'm live. Hello, I guess if you are on this, like, say hi or something so I know I'm not just talking to myself, but if I am, that's okay. Alright, so today I'm going to talk about why I became a health coach and why I'm no longer a photographer, because I think most people that I know me as a photographer, and I think sometimes when people ask me, like, why I became, hey Stephanie, why people ask me, like, why I became a health coach, I sometimes give, like, a vague answer, or I don't, like, talk about it enough. And I've realized, like, sometimes, like, I'm usually vague, like, I go off and I do these things, I travel and I come back and I'm doing something different, and then I go off again and I travel and do these things, I'm doing something different, and I always give, like, kind of vague answers, and sometimes I can be a little mysterious about it all, so today I'm gonna, like, try and actually, like, explain what I'm doing and why. And then when people ask me from now on, hey Lauren, when people ask me from now on, like, what I'm doing, just refer them to this video. So, okay, I was working as a photographer for several years, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it, and it suited me a lot. I was photographing weddings and families and people, and in general, just groups and events and parties, hotels. I did all kinds of different, like, photography work, and that is how I made my living for those several years. And I had my own photography business, which I really loved. I loved having a business of my own, and, like, I loved everything about it, like being able to create, like, this thing of my own, where even, like, everything about it, like, even the weird stuff, like, okay, this is, like, my responsibility. If I don't do well, it's, like, my own fault. Like, for some reason, like, that excites me. Like, if I do well, it's because I did it. If I did bad, well, that's my fault too. So, like, it's all, like, something I'm creating. This is my creation. So I, like, really loved having a business. But the thing is, like, I started working way too much on it. Like, I put way too many hours into it, and I had no structure whatsoever. So I was working just, like, nonstop all the time in my photography business. Hey, Carrie. Like, all day. I'd work at night. I'd work up till, like, midnight, 1, sometimes 2 a.m. in the morning. At one point, I made a rule for myself that I had to, like, stop working at 10 p.m. Like, that was my rule, which is a step in the right direction. Like, that's a good step, but it's also kind of crazy that I had to make that rule. I was working on the weekends, and it got to the point, like, I loved having the business, because that's what I was working on a lot, but it was also kind of controlling me and controlling my life, and it was overwhelming. I had so much pressure to, like, always be working and always be busy, and I confused busyness with productiveness, and it's just, there's a lot of, like, societal pressure to have that, like, constant, like, you have to be struggling and like, to get your business started. And I was always in that startup mode, like, I'm getting the business going, because it was never, like, to that point where it's, like, really successful with a lot of clients and everything like I wanted. But I had this idea in my head, like, okay, like, when I get to that point, then it will, like, then I can, like, take a break. Hey, Colleen. Then I can do this, but it also occurred to me, like, okay, if I do get busy, if I do get a lot of clients, if I'm this busy now, like, without a whole bunch of clients, like, how am I going to handle it when I do have a bunch of clients? So I'm going to talk about, like, why I think, like, shifting from this, like, whole hustle, busy versus productive, good, like, yeah, this whole, like, idea of, like, hustling and like, trying to, like, crush it, like, all this, like, stuff that's out today that's about, like, anytime I see something that's, like, crush it, hey Bobby, and then it's about, like, crushing it, like, hustling, I'm just kind of like, no, because I think we have to move away from that. So, okay, I was working my photography business, I was loving it, but also kind of, like, being controlled by it, and I started getting really tired during the day. And I always hated taking naps, because I just found, like, if I took a nap, I was just, like, really groggy afterwards, and it just made things worse. So I hated taking naps, but I got to the point, like, I had to take a nap because I was so tired. And this became more and more common, where, like, I had to take a nap. And then because I had all this pressure to always be working, like, after the nap, I would just feel like I was even more behind, like, I had to work even more, and I had more to do now. And so there's this whole, like, this terrible cycle of, like, just feeling like I had to always be working and not giving myself a break. If I did give myself a break, I'd feel guilty for it. I wouldn't, even, like, taking lunch and stuff, I'd do it, like, really quick, or I'd work while I was eating. all kinds of stuff like that. And then it got to the point where like this fatigue got so bad. Like there were other symptoms too, but like the fatigue was the big one. The fatigue got so bad that it got to the point where I would wake up, I'd have like even no matter how much sleep I got, no matter how big of a breakfast I ate, I'd feel good to go in the morning, and then like at 10 a.m., this became like clockwork, at 10 a.m., a wall of drowsiness would hit me. It'd be like extreme drowsiness. That's the best way to describe it. It wasn't just like being tired, it was like drowsy. Like if you ever take allergy medicine, you're completely knocked out, and like in that daze, that's how I felt. I was working as a hotel photographer for a while. I was working as a hotel photographer for a while. I don't know if I said that right. And I used to have to like set up my tripod in the room, like take like a series of shots of the whole room, and like they'd be like long exposures and stuff too. And like in between shots, or like while I was taking a long exposure shot, I would just stand there and like close my eyes. That's how tired I was. Like this fatigue was awful. The pictures turned out good. Still, it turned out good. But Archana, a long time no see. But it was really bad. And even one time I remember I walked in, I got to a hotel after driving to whatever hotel it was. I got to my room, dropped my bag of equipment, and just fell right into bed with my coat, with my shoes on, and just passed out. Like face down in the bed, legs hanging off the bed. I passed out and woke up like a few hours later. That's how bad like this fatigue was. So when I tell people I was tired, I think like it only gives you like a little idea of what it felt like. So when I went to my doctor to like see what was wrong, they just kind of told me like nothing was wrong with me. They didn't give me any help. And then so I sought like alternative medicine, holistic health. And my healer, Ola, if you happen to watch this, thank you so much for all your help and helping me heal. She helped me heal naturally from what I had, which was adrenal fatigue. And I became really interested in all that, like while I was healing and like learning more about it and everything. Like the whole thing fascinated me. Like every time I went to see Ola, I'd be really into it and like asking her questions about it. But I got really interested in that, but never thought about doing it as a career or anything. And what I learned was adrenal fatigue is created by stress. And so, you know, I never thought of myself as a stressed out person. Like I think of someone who's stressed out is like pulling their hair out and they're like frazzled and like really high strung and like have papers and like books stacked everywhere and everything's a mess. I'm actually like very organized and I'm very laid back, so like I don't think of myself as a stressed out person, but my stress was the kind where it's like I just felt like I have a lot to do. Like, oh, I have so much to do, I have to get this done. And hey Sherry, and that constant pressure to always be working, so that definitely is stress. And so I realized that pretty early on, like okay, that's stress. Like I do have to start like giving myself and my body rest, relaxation. This is really important actually. The other things that surprised me that were also stressing me out there were like my relationship with my little sister at the time was not good, and that was definitely stressing me out. The foods I was eating, I ate pretty healthily in general, but when you have adrenal fatigue and your adrenal glands are stressed out or depleted, I should say, certain foods will aggravate it more and others are more nourishing. So I changed around what I ate. And then the other thing is, which I realized in hindsight, hey Karen, oh, it's still up, huh? Must be ladies' night. Karen's in Brisbane, so she's probably at the casino. The other thing I realize now, oh good, hey Team Phoenix at Bobby's office. That's great. The thing I realize now though, like in hindsight, is what I was doing with my life, my photography work, like my heart was not in it, so that was definitely causing me stress. And like I came to the conclusion at one point that I didn't want to shoot weddings anymore, which like okay, like that was like such a big relief when I made that decision, because I had fun doing it, but like I don't care about weddings, so like that kind of made sense to me. But it was a huge relief to like decide to stop doing that. But then like once I decided that, I asked myself like if I wanted to do any of the photography anymore, and I was very surprised that like no, I did not. So then after that, like the whole next year, I was just in kind of like a tailspin, like wondering what I should do with my life, and like I had zero clarity. It was very confusing and frustrating. I was extremely discontent. And so at the end of the year, I decided to move to Australia, which Bobby, I did talk to you a little bit about that. Did you get that visa yet, by the way? But I decided to move to Australia, which sounds kind of crazy alone, but like it was kind of normal for me because I've traveled a lot, and I did need a change. And it had been like Australia had been on my mind for a while. Like, oh, I should live there for a bit. So I moved to Australia, and about a week in, while living there, it occurred to me that I could do something with holistic health. And when I thought that, like, I had such peace just feeling that. I don't want to call it like it was a calling exactly. I don't want to say it was a calling, but it was kind of like a little bit of a revelation. I was on this gorgeous beach in Byron Bay, and like I just felt so good when I decided that. And so I became a health coach with HCI, which I have a lot of HCI friends on here. If you are HCI person, alum, comment for me, please. But I went through HCI, I went through Health Coach Institute and became a health coach, and am now a health coach. And my big thing is helping other women business owners find ways to deal with this stress and to reduce stress. Sherry, yeah. To reduce stress and to change this whole mindset of going from hustling and having to like struggle to get your business going, or all of these ideas about like being busy, and changing that to one of like, okay, actually, let's do this completely differently. Let's have peace in our everyday lives, like no matter what's going on, like a relaxed way of being and running your business, and like getting more done while doing less. Like being like really focused and clear about what you need to be doing and letting go of the rest, and to just enjoy your everyday life and enjoy how your whole business is run and how the whole process is going. Not just like, when I get to here, then I'll be happy. When I get this many clients, then I can take a break. Because the thing is, if you're waiting for something like that, nothing's going to just change on its own. Like if you don't decide to change your mindset and to change like how you're operating your business and how you're running things, nothing's going to change. It's always going to continue going that same crazy pace with the same stress. If you get more success, it's probably just going to start to snowball anyhow, and just it's all going to add up and just get more and more and more, because it's all these like ingrained patterns and habits we have. So if you don't consciously decide like you want to do this differently, it's just going to keep going the same way. So I want to help women get out of that hustling mindset and go to one of more peace and relaxation and just enjoyment of your business. Even if that doesn't mean you're necessarily doing less, it's just a whole different way of like looking at how you're doing things and how you're being while you're running your business. So, hey Caitlin. So, I want to help women, I want to help prevent women getting to this place where they get something like adrenal fatigue or other stress-related health conditions. Because if you keep going this way and you know it's a problem now and you just think it's going to solve itself later, or like once you get like to a milestone or something, it's just going to, Jessica Henry, I haven't seen you forever, or talked to you forever. Hey. If you don't change these things now, it's just going to continue going on that way, that same path. So I want to help women prevent these like illnesses and stuff, because the further you get along, like if I had realized I had adrenal fatigue like earlier on, it would have been easier to heal from it earlier on. So before you even get to that point of like any health issues, like let's prevent them from happening in the first place. And a big part of this is like the mindset and how we're doing things. So I'm going to be launching a group program next month, July 12th. Energize, Find Freedom, and Love Your Business right now. And so it's for other women business owners to find where all the stress is in their lives, not just like the obvious ones that they might know, and then figure out how to reduce that stress, how to come into balance. I know it seems like really impossible for some people, for a lot of people, and how to start, and then how to change this whole mindset. And it's going to be different for everyone, but how to change this whole mindset from overwhelm and stress and having way too much to do to one of like peace and relaxation, having that be a normal part of your lives. Karen. But I want this to be something like, this is actually possible to do, and this is like, I've made such a big shift of thinking, just from going from that spot where I was like so stressed out and depleted, and literally like I couldn't work even if I wanted to, because I had to sleep. Like my body was forcing me to sleep. So I want to help women, like if you don't decide that you are going to change this now, like it's going to just get worse as it goes on. Like it's just going to keep like building up. And if you don't figure out how to change it now, you most likely are going to run into some kind of stress related health condition, whether it's adrenal fatigue or something else. There's so many that are caused by stress. So that's what I want to talk about. I am now back in Pittsburgh. I am working as a health coach, and that's a little bit about what I'm doing now. Hope that clears up some of this. Hey, Diane! And I think that's all I have for now. I'll be back on. I'll be talking more about these like things that are related with stress and energy and all my musings that I think about during the day. I'm gonna start sharing them with you guys, so I can bore you more, Karen. Hey, Nina. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I guess I'll be back on another time with some more stuff. The Berg, yes, Diane. Thanks, guys, for watching. Bye.